Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call Wise Man Lawyers. Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call Wise Man Lawyers. Don't face that court alone. Let the Wise Man team get you back on the road. Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call the Wise Man team at Wise Man Lawyers.
All right, today I'm at Wynnum Magistrates Court for a very serious matter. Client's been charged with dangerous operation of a motor vehicle whilst adversely affected. That's a criminal code offence. Most of the matters I do are from the traffic code or traffic acts, whereas this is a criminal offence to be said in the same sentence as murder or any other criminal code offence. In summary, he was charged with dangerous driving whilst being high range drink driving, so 0.212 with a multi-vehicle collision on the gateway, and he was also unlicensed when charged. So this wasn't about saving his licence, it was about avoiding imprisonment. He had a lengthy interstate traffic history with several previous drink driving offences, so it was hard yakka. I had my work cut out for me. As I said, my job today wasn't about saving his licence, it was about avoiding imprisonment. I had my client attend 2 separate reformatory courses. He did about 15 hours total in education about what could have happened beyond that which did, which I'll go into in a moment. I prepared detailed written submissions of relevant case law. There's not a lot of case law involving circumstances and charges such as this where people didn't go to jail, but I did manage to scour the court database for a few, and I drafted pretty persuasive written submissions based on that case law. But going back to the facts, as I said, driving along the gateway, high range, 0.212, he's clipped the passenger side rear of another vehicle. That other vehicle's lost control and done multiple 360s before coming to a standstill, and then my client's lost control and done several barrel rolls. Fortunately, there wasn't any injuries, but it was a catastrophic collision as far as collisions go, but there was no serious injuries, thankfully. He would have been most certainly going to jail if there was, and this would have been a district court matter, not a magistrate's court matter. But anyway, as I said, high risk of jail. I had to put in a lot of time and effort to prepare my submissions. The police fought vigorously for imprisonment, and they even sent, while we're in the courtroom, they all called in one of the guards to the dock in anticipation for my client being sentenced so that he could be taken to custody straight away. Again, I bolstered those written submissions with forceful verbal submissions. I spoke at length about his family situation, the underlying issues which led to his offending. I won't go into it now, but there was underlying issues which I'd say are mental health related, but as I said, I'm not going to go into detail. I spoke about the fact that he's got a daughter who, without her dad providing for her, will obviously be disadvantaged, and I spoke at length about the course materials and seminars that he attended. Got him to get references based on the template we always give. With regard to offences like this, it's not a question of will there or will there not be imprisonment. If you cause a massive collision like that while high range drink driving, particularly where you've got previous drink driving offending, you will get a term of imprisonment. It's just a question of whether or not you'll actually go to jail or whether you'll serve that term of imprisonment in the community. When I say in the community, there's 4 different ways you can serve a term of imprisonment. One of them is actual jail, so actually going to jail. The next one back from that is what's called an intensive correction order. So that's basically for a period you need to report to probation parole, and it's a regimented micromanagement. It's almost like you may as well be in jail. You have to report almost daily, if not daily, depending on the order itself. Do drug testing, alcohol testing, psychological treatment, you name it. You are literally micromanaged to the point where you may as well be in jail. Stepping back from that is what's called immediate parole. Immediate parole basically means you've been sent to jail, but the day of court is your release date. So technically you went to jail, but today you're being released on parole. So for a period, you'll need to report. It's much the same as an ICO in that you report to probation, parole, drug testing, alcohol testing, whatever psych assessment is deemed appropriate. Basically, you've got to do whatever you're told by the probation parole board. And the other way of serving a term of imprisonment in the community is by way of a wholly suspended sentence. So if you're given a wholly suspended sentence, let's say, for example, you're given 5 years, suspended for 5, you leave the court, you go home, you're left to your own devices, you don't have to report to anyone or do anything other than not re-offend during the period of the suspension. So if it was for 5 years, don't re-offend. If you get charged with anything punishable with imprisonment, and believe me, a lot of things are, public nuisance, you name it, technically worst case scenario is jail, you'll be brought before the courts and re-sentenced, and if you're not adequately represented, you will, the suspended term of imprisonment will drop down and you will serve it. I have again kept people out of jail where they've been in that situation, but it's hard work, and yeah, I need compelling circumstances to work with to be able to do it. But anyway, those were the 4 options available to the magistrate today. As I've already said, I prepared detailed and comprehensive submissions of relevant case law. I mean, I don't just go into a court asking for stuff. I don't ask for anything from a magistrate without giving them all the ammo they need to justify that decision. So I take away all the reasons to say no, so the only thing left to say is yes. So as a part of that, written submissions of case law, getting my clients to do these courses, getting the references. I did ask my client to attend upon his GP, get whatever mental health treatment the GP needed, and to give me documentary evidence of that. And obviously I prepare my verbal submissions as I always do. I'm starting to prattle on now. The short version is I was successful in persuading the magistrate not to actually imprison my client, and I was also successful in persuading the magistrate not to give any kind of intensive correction order or immediate parole. So what I'm getting at is he was given a wholly suspended term of imprisonment. So basically that imprisonment will hang over his head for a period. We all got to leave court. He's gone home. There's no reporting or anything like that. He just needs to make sure he doesn't do anything wrong during the period of the suspension. And at the end of that period, the suspension hanging over his head will disappear effectively, and he'll get on with his life. Anyway, I'm Andrew Wiseman, and thanks for watching.
Does your license need saving? Do the wise thing. Call the Wise Man team at Wise Man.